Hello everyone, good morning. It's morning in the south at least. I know. I've been seeing a lot of my subscribers are overseas, and that's great, it doesn't matter. It's a numbers game. I wanted to make another video despite not having made another model. And I was thinking about that just now. I think I'm going to try to make them in a different way. Where it's not, I don't know, maybe it's cheating in some way, but it's just, the book has, this book, Spherical Models, has tables in it where it shows you one second. Anyway, it's like a list of all the dimensions when the edge length has a length of 2. Here it is. So, I have been doing it where I go off of these diagrams and then construct them with a drafting compass. But if I go to the chart, I mean, it's just like music. Then on here it has the, right, these are the degrees. There's 3 degrees. It's this triangle, 1, 2, 3. Right, the angles of the degrees. And so, I can divide a circle into 36 just like anyone else. Right? Which is to say, right, I can divide it into 18, right, and then double it. And I suppose we'll talk more about that in due time. But I decided to do that just now. Try to give it a try. As far as the model, right, here's the model, right, and I know why, right, I mean, it's a good model, right, but it's kind of, these are too high, right, it's supposed to be flat, right, up against it, right, this is supposed to be like down, right, or it's flush, it's like a solid curve, not like, this is like undulating, right, like a sand dune, you know. And the reason is because I hate math. You're supposed to use like a calculator, right? So I've just been using the compass, and I've been doing the same thing as the degrees, just on like with those drawings, right? And I've learned a lot. But anyway, this channel is dedicated to processing, right, and discussing my relationship with Quentin Tarantino. And we're making all the models, right, as a method for embedding within my psyche, right, through constructing them, right, the harmony of the quantum cosmic hologram that resides within every cubic centimeter of space. Do I have a formula that I can point to and say, see, there it is, that's how I know, right? Beyond the golden mean, no, you never can. Right? Do I have engineering concepts? Bet your sweet bippy, right? But my point is that Quentin felt it prudent, right, to enter into a clairvoyant siege with me. And so, right, I let him run amok, right, in the house of the holy for a long time, 5 months, out of trust, out of love. And now I see, right, he's just a wicked, sinister degenerate, right? He has no love in his heart. He should have never had children, right? When him and his wife got married, that was like the most blasphemous ha, right, that occurred in the City of Angels, that they were both like, yeah, fucking God, fuck you, our crosses are upside down. And so what do I mean when I say that? I mean that The things that people refer to as magic and sorcery, right, are the same things that people refer to as psychic and clairvoyant now. Right? In the 1500s, right? In the 1400s, they used words like magician. They used words like sorcerer. They used words like witch, right? And now, in the 21st century, they use words like quantum entanglement. They use words like telepathy, right? They use words like telekinesis, psychokinesis, thaumaturgy, right? Psychic, clairvoyant, remote viewing, right? That they're all just the same thing. Same. Not similar, they're the same. Same things, right? The words are different, the tactics are the same. Right? It's an embedding of your psyche, right? Of your conscious awareness to a disparate locale. Right? That's all. Right? And so one second. Right? Quentin wanted me to question him about his book, Cinema Speculation. At a screening of Jackie Brown last year, fuck it. And so I went to the screening, right? He never said anything to me. Right? I started reviewing movies in protest, right? He canceled the film after the third review, 4,500 word review of Gone with the Wind. Right? So that was like maybe 25,000 words in protest in a week. Because he knew, right? He knew I was never going to stop. Right? So he canceled the film. I sent him a letter immediately, right? Refused at the door. He announces he's having a screening of Jackie Brown at the NeroCon, right? Which is the Tribeca Film Festival. Last June. So, right? Refuses all my letters, right? He remote views me every night, right? Every single night I'm writing at the golden hour, right? I always write, I'm in my backyard after work, right? For the magic of the moment, you know, the changing of the light, right? He's remote viewing me every night saying, oh, I can't fuck with this guy. He's writing right now, right? I wrote him again a week before the screening. He refused it at the door. So, right? After the film screening, they had their conversation. Everything that he said was in relation to me. Getting up on stage and questioning him about cinema speculation. So the screening ended, and I don't know why I did this, but the night before I wrote a letter, right? Like, I don't know why I did that. Like, I knew what he wanted, right? He wanted me to bark like a dog, right? Nobody does it better, right? So I opened this book, right? Here's the letter, right? Right? I pushed it all the way up to his face. Right? He signed it. This is his autograph right there on the inside of the dust jacket, right? So he stuck his nose up at me, turned his back on my letter, and that's all I saw. I didn't care about anything else. And so I followed his direction. Right? I don't have to play Quentin's fucked up mind games. Right? That's my right. Right? So, right, the months unfolded, right? He continued to violate my mind egregiously, right? Compelling me to quit my job, right? Just violating the sanctity of my mind, because it's a game to him. It's funny. He's a sick degenerate. He's not a cool guy, right? And his daughter's going to be a fucking wreck. His son too, no doubt, right? So eventually, right, I started remote viewing the woman he said was in love with me, right? So this is weird conspiracy, right? That harkens to some psychological truth within them, right? That they like to play, that Quentin and Daniela play fucked up mind games, right? And he like remote views her through the minds of other men, right? And when I started remote viewing the girl, her name's Allison Tarantino, A Tarantino. It's just the first bitch who pops up with his last name. I would guess. I don't know. Maybe he knows her. He's got siblings. You know, says she speaks Afrikaans. So I suspect he doesn't know her. Right? But he started poisoning my mind with bullshit, right? Real bad, right? By his remote viewing tactics, right? Did the same tactics, that's my point, right? Like, originally, right, he remote viewed me, right? And compelled me to make the scene that I sent him, right? He just wanted me to do the scene. This is how he writes his movies, right? He's a psychic voyeur, right? And so I'm melding the scene, right? Which is why we're here now. About a writer yelling at people for reading his writing. The movie critic's about a writer. The movie critic is the movie he's making. The Continuing Adventures of Cliff Booth is a fuck you to me, right? Because right, I reminded the public in my essay, I wrote an essay before my reviews, right, that Cliff Booth and Brad Pitt are the same person. Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt, each one syllable, right? That Cliff Booth murdered his wife on a boat and got away with it because Brad Pitt beat up his wife on an airplane and got away with it. It's the same story. This is not, right? I can forgive the writing of it. I can forgive the filming of it. I can forgive the success of the film. I don't care about any of that. It's a good story, right? Where I had issue with it, right, as far as the critical establishment, right, is this silence regarding his campaign, right? That Sony Pictures thought that it was prudent on the first film Quentin made without Harvey Weinstein to promote Brad Pitt to win an Oscar for beating up his wife on an airplane. Oh gosh, such humility. Look at the leaf he's turned over. Like that would be true if you didn't campaign. Right? It would be a true act of humility. Right? Otherwise, it's just Hollywood being Hollywood. Right? Saying, well, that's business. No, that's you being a fucked up corporation. Right? And now everyone around him, they insulate high evil. You know, that's so anyway, to come back to Allison, right? I started remote viewing her. Right? Within days, she was a nasty bitch who fucks 20 men a day, fucks 5 guys at the same time, right? Like all, boom, he's pushing that thought out of his mind, and we'll come back to that in a second, right? And then within another few days of me just burying him in it, there's the vision board, Celestial vision board, right? He admitted I had no daughter, right? So ever since then, I've been trying to come clean, to show the world, right, this is what's occurring, right? And so around the same time, I had the thought, oh, what else is he prepared to do, right? And now he's descended into really ugly black magic evil, right? He's done so much fucked up shit to me that he can never take back. Can't take it back. He can lie forever, and I suppose that's what he's gonna do. Right? I can't imagine it, but that's why, right? That's why this channel exists, right? To bring, right, the critical establishment down on him, because all he can do is lie, right? All I can do is tell the truth, and all he can do is lie, right? All he can do is say I'm insane, and that's fine. I'm insane, he's evil. These are the two positions. Another primary reason that I decided to make this video is because I wrote a letter to Alan Moore. A couple days ago. I put it in the mail. Right? Again, this is all because he's getting his Lifetime Achievement Award on the 28th, right? And I'm in palpable fear. I live in fear, right? He wants to persist in this way, right? WME thinks that like traumatizing me every day is cool. Right? That it's better to just let him run amok on the psychic landscape like a jackass adolescent. Right? So I decided to write Alan Moore. And since I don't do anything in the dark, magic's done in the light, sorcery's done in the dark, we're gonna read it right now. Here's the letter. I fully expect to be tortured as I write this, which presages multiple drafts, though hopefully not. Hello, Alan, Mr. Moore. Whatever you expect a venerating stranger to call you, I am happy to oblige. My name is Brian Jennings. The tale I am to unfold in this letter is wide and winding, harrowing and perilous, not without its moments of comedy. But it is the subject of a novel I've written, Building a Coven. I have emailed your agency a couple times. This is my first handwritten letter. I am writing because I am embroiled in something very few people understand, and I write you now because you are one of the rare few. In order for you to understand, I have to begin at the beginning and explain everything they will use against me. The only argument they have is that I am insane. I am insane. Quentin Tarantino is evil. These are our two positions. As regards my sanity, it is a hackneyed excuse I suspect everyone around him grows weary of. I wrote a number of letters, 4 in total, laid out my case, and sent them to Quentin Tarantino in the summer of 23. The trades published he was shooting the film at the end of September. However, the SAG strike continued until Thanksgiving, so that when he read my letters around December 10th, they had only just begun, and the trades published he had halted his production until early 2024. While acting in The Two Gentlemen of Verona, writing backstage, as I am a writer as well as an actor, all the letters came flooding back to me. This is the first time he remote viewed me. This is the first time he violated my mind. I heard him, he said, "Okay, dude, let's do it." And excited, I began writing again. The first 3 letters were written over the course of 1 week, and the 4th after the first 3 were returned to sender. After the second mailing, I did not write him again until December. I thought it weird to write every week. I wrote 6 more letters between then and the end of January, as often as I was able, every time Quentin exerting psychic pressure upon my waking mind, until the press announced Brad Pitt was reuniting with Quentin, and he stopped accepting my mail. I am now sitting in my first audition room, 12th night. I am doing my best to continue writing each day, though to be sure, this saga, Quentin's treatment of me, has imbued a great reticence. I live in a perpetual haze of fear and paranoia. After he stopped accepting my mail, I needed some 10 days to process his violation of my mind and soul. I began seeing him, his body of work, in a new adulterated light, and decided that while I obviously cannot compel him to speak reasonably to me, I can write about it. So I did. I wrote a 7,000-word essay torching him and Brad Pitt and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I reminded the world that Brad Pitt and Cliff Booth are the same person. Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt, each one syllable. Cliff Booth murdered his wife on a boat with a spear gun because Brad Pitt beat up his wife on an airplane and got away with it. He pulled his story out of the air and put it in the water. I don't have to tell you. This is what writers do. Within 1 day of publishing it, he was in my head, violating my mind, playing the slow, sad song from Kill Bill. Now it's too late to say you're sorry. How could I know? What could I say? Now it's too late to say you're sorry. She's not there. With Quentin offering hollow protestations and apologies, "I'm sorry," which meant nothing to me then, like it means nothing to me now. These games to him are violations to me. After I published the essay, and it failed to take flight, I thought, what else can I do? And had the thought, oh, I should review movies every day and protest. Then I thought, that's funny. So that's exactly what I did. I reviewed 3 movies with hashtag boycott the movie critic. An American in Paris, Mr. Skeffington, and when I tweeted my 4,500-word review of Gone with the Wind directly to his personal Twitter, @QTarantinoTweet, he canceled the film the following morning, less than 12 hours after I posted it to him, saying, "There it is. Feel free to read the other 2, as you and or your final film are mentioned in both of them." I am the real reason he canceled the film. I wrote him immediately, refused at the door. I took everything down because I'm cool. Quentin would say otherwise. I have similar opinions about him and his. But from then, he was back violating my mind as a psychic voyeur every night. Many nights I would write through golden hour sunset for the magic of the moment to lend itself to my writing. And I would hear him, "This guy's writing right now. I can't fuck with this guy." Which is only one of a multitude of examples. Of course, the weeks unfolded, and he revealed that he wanted me to question him about cinema speculation at a screening of Jackie Brown last June at De Niro Con. All psychic mind manipulation, which I, then, as now, have no choice but to endure. Some 2 months, all day and night. I wrote him another letter a week before Tribeca, again, refused. No actual contact, having nothing to trust but the voice in my head, which I resent far more now. But even then, I began to think, the only time I have my mind to myself is at the witching hour before work. It was exhausting then, though now it is debilitating to all involved. I spent so much time hating myself, sacrificing everything, my job, my body, my innocence, all to satiate his base perversions of thought, his sick conspiracies to see me suffer. And so now, I feel I chose the right side. The lesser mysteries is the question, the horizon of your ignorance. Initiation by degrees, bullshit. But the greater mysteries is love, which is the answer. He chose the question, and I followed his direction. It was petty. However, his behavior thereafter is a testament to how uncool he is. And if he is the elder statesman of cinema, then Hollywood venerates an evil degenerate, just one of several, I have no doubt. After the conversation with De Niro, I asked him to sign my copy of Cinema Speculation. I opened the book, he signed the dust jacket, and I had a letter inside the book. I shoved the letter all the way up to his face, and he stuck his nose up at me and turned his back on me. So I followed his direction, turned around and left. I know it was petty, and he will tell you I am a crazed fan and show you a letter I sent his agent, which I will now explain in full. I have to put this in the mail. I do not have the luxury of taking my time. After Tribeca, Quentin has been seeking my sanity so that I will commit suicide, and he can have and use the scene I sent him for free. He and the cabal of degenerates that call him master have been practicing dangerous black magic evil, trying with clay fetishes to give me AIDS and poison me with the destroying angel mushroom. The ugliest, highest black magic evil anyone could practice, and if I do the same thing, he will send people here to murder me. You should know, that this is the ugliest, most dangerous game in the world, and all I can do is endure. My YouTube channel, @CriticalSorcerer, explains everything I don't have the time to write out. I recommend A Plea to the Pope. In any of the newest 30 videos or so, I'll explain with grace what is occurring. We are swiftly approaching Quentin receiving the Vanguard on September 28th with the Burbank International Film Festival, the board members of which consider being a game show contestant a valid credit, if that's any hint how illustrious their awards are. But at any rate, earlier this summer, he did a retrospective at Cannes, and while he was on stage, he had two of his protégés practicing high evil and making my life miserable because he has spent so much time remote viewing me, he has created a case study psychologically in all of us. All involved, I mean. So, he feels he has to torture me into submission so that he has his mind free to be a charming satanic asshole, which again, is his doing, not mine. Whatever his justifications are is irrelevant. If Khan is the blueprint for how his public speaking engagements will proceed moving forward, then I have no choice but to assume his disciples are preparing with their every breath to torture me and try to kill me with hideous black magic evil. This is why I'm writing. I am afraid. Yes, he can and will say I am insane. And if you receive something from him before this arrives, he proves me right. And if and when he shows you the letter I willingly sent him and slanders me out of context, just know that secret, which I put on paper willingly, he stole with clairvoyance, which I could have lied about, sure, and I suppose I should have. I never would have sent that to him if I knew he was going to mock me all over town. Of course, it is a testament to his adolescence. But my point is that the things people refer to as psychic, clairvoyant, telepathy, etc., are the same things people refer to as magic and sorcery. Not similar, the same things. So please, I know you understand. Look at the channel and think about it. Understand, I write because you are one of the few people who actually understands. And I am most dreadfully attended. I need help. I'm not asking you to go to war with Quentin, though no one's ever been more deserving. But please, just share the channel. Help get the story out before Burbank. Because if it remains this ugly, occulted thing, it might cost me my life. He is a sad, angry, evil, ugly goblin. Sent with love. Please help if you can. Brian Jennings, September 16th, 2025. So, I don't know. I don't know if it'll get to him in time. I mean, Quentin will poison my mind with bullshit. This is what he does. To make me believe he received it. But I will never actually know if he doesn't reply. You know? So, God willing, he'll share it. He'll share the channel, right? So, I'm also going to read the email I sent to Quentin's agent from the New York Times. Right? We don't do anything in the dark here. Right? I hated myself for writing it. He went, oh, ha, 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 got you. Now you look insane. Right? That it's just sad and angry that he like feels compelled to treat me this way. When he has a beautiful wife, he's got 2 beautiful children, right? In their beautiful years, in their charming years, 6 and 3. I'm sure his son's becoming a little motherfucker each day, but my point is that, right, he has so much that he could be focusing on, right? He could tell everyone around him, right, oh, we're cutting this guy loose, right? Instead of doing that, right, he is compelling, right, people close to him to watch me constantly, right, because he went too far, right? I'm not interested in being evil. Right? So this is to aemanuel, Mike Simpson, Scott.feinberg, the mayor of Burbank, and Megan Toohey. Right? Scott.feinberg is the, I call him something, but he's the guy who's going through Quentin's retrospective. Right? aemanuel was the CEO, right, of WME. Right? And he's right here. That's him. Right? Mike Simpson is his agent, according to IMDb Pro. Right? The mayor of Burbank is doing Quentin Tarantino Day. Right? It's a woman. Right? And Megan Toohey, right, is a reporter with the New York Times. You all sit back and let him perpetuate a disgusting psychic siege upon my sanity constantly, whenever he sees fit, that it is appropriate to plague my conscious mind with visions of evil. If what I am saying is true, and it is, you all actively support and protect a sad, angry, evil man, and let him bully me because he's famous and has made you money. Make sure to clear the air about me when you interview him in 10 days' time. Yes, this is Brian Jennings. He canceled the film because of me. He tortures me, him and everyone close to him, with the ugliest evil none of you are prepared to endure. All of this evil is shameful. Are you all really interested in seeing this saga between us remain in psychic limbo? Are you prepared to wonder the rest of your lives if I should die in the coming days or hours or weeks, say September 27th, if he assassinated me? Are you all so interested in wiping his ass for him, you're unwilling to see the actual truth? I see now why none of the critical establishment said anything about Brad Pitt's spousal abuse being the plot, because he tortures anyone who doesn't give him what he wants, like a 6-year-old throwing a tantrum. Instead, now it's a dangerous psychic clairvoyant, and my life is in his crosshairs. Is my death the cost of doing business? Is him watching me and torturing me something we're all just accepting as some necessary inevitability? If this condition persists to his Vanguard Award, he will have people remote viewing me and torturing me and trying to kill me. This is a certainty. Yes, don't tell me. I know he has no idea what I'm talking about. I'm telling you all right now, this trauma he subjects me to is as evil as anyone can be. that is not actual murder. Just so we're clear. And I can defend myself. I'll make anyone's life miserable just like he does to me. But he is a coward, and if I go on the offensive at all, he will assassinate me. I know he fantasizes and perhaps conspires already. He is a dangerous, evil man, and you all insulate his evil by simply refusing to help me get the fucking story out. No money required. Is this about my scene? It's sick this saga has gone on as long as it has. And I don't care I don't care. I get it. I'm insane. He's evil, right? But he needs to leave me the fuck alone. If the scene is being used, I should be paid, or you could just represent me and get my novel published. What does WME actually just want to put their hands up and say, well, that's our auteur. He says Brian's not well. He wrote 130,000 words of a novel in 5 weeks, but I guess he's just insane because that's what Quentin Tarantino says. It's ridiculous. What does he say about me? He's using my scene and being cruel and disgustingly evil because he wants me to die before he has to pay me. What else? Why else would you, WME, let this go on this long? To the Hollywood Reporter. I know, Scott. You're a real red carpet dandy. You'll do nothing but whimper and cower and beg for Quentin's approval. But you're involved, and now we're all in this together. To the New York Times. Megan Toohey, I cannot allege to knowing any of your work, but I've included Brian Rosenthal in several of my emails, and he thinks saying nothing is appropriate. I don't know if he even read it, but what I'm saying is that the real story of the movie critic is the story of Quentin Tarantino's evil. And you can be above the fray and help me get the story out to the public at large. The only way he feels comfortable being so disgusting and vulgar and evil is because WME has kept this out of the public eye. And admittedly, I wanted to appease Quentin for a time, but now I see he just wants me to die, so we have to talk about it. He's created a dangerous condition psychologically for all involved, and us persisting in this way for the last 20 years is ridiculous to consider. To the mayor of Burbank, Quentin Tarantino Day is a farce. He's an evil man whose violence in his movies stems from some primal truth within him. If he was cool, I wouldn't be writing this right now. Cool people see what's good in their life. Cool people understand you can never control everyone. But Quentin Tarantino doesn't see what's good in his life. Doesn't see what he can control, only what he cannot control. And so is devoted to seeing me suffer so he can have my intellectual property for free. He believes that because he is famous and has money and prestige, that gives him permission to practice high evil, him and the degenerates that surround him. So when you're cutting your ribbon and shaking hands with him and taking your shoes off, know that he has people elsewhere devoted to seeing me suffer. All of these things are guarantees. If we persist through September 28th, he will see me suffer that entire event. This man is as wicked as anyone can be, and my life and mind are forever under attack as long as you all think saying and doing nothing is appropriate. Right? And to be clear, right, I felt something evil while I was reading it. Right? Oh gosh, how unfortunate, he's lost his mind. Right? If you say that remote viewing is real, right, then by default, right, you're forced to recognize the validity of my claims, right? Right? You don't have to, like, you could be a reductionist materialistic scientist. You could say, oh, magic's for babies, right? But I'm not talking about fucking Penn and Teller, right? Right? That the things they refer to as magic are the same things that they refer to as remote viewing and clairvoyant now, right? As far as the tactics, right? Psychologically, neurologically, right? And so, right, he subjects me to a high evil, right? And I've tried to reach out to the press, right? The only reason he can persist in this way, right, is because it's an occulted thing. It's just him towering over me, right? If the world understands what actually occurred, right, and is occurring with regards to the movie critic, right, then he'll have no choice, right? And so this is why I reach out to Alan Moore, right? As far as he'll have to actually assassinate me, right? Or leave me alone, right? That if I have the ear of the zeitgeist, right? If I have the ear of the public at large, right? And they say, wow, seems like a really smart guy. He knows what he's talking about. Maybe I don't agree with it, but he's obviously not insane, right? And I've said it the whole time. Put him on a polygraph, right? Boom, easy, right? Like put them, like, right? Like let's debate each other in public, right? Right? No more occulted bullshit, right? So, right, at the highest levels of understanding is the recognition, right, that space is aligned like a coin. Pribram and Bohm's holographic model attests that within every cubic centimeter of space, in terms of information, lies the potential for all manifested reality, right? And so that is the first half of the coin, right? And it's perpetually in a state of rest as an infinitely complex nesting of polyhedra, right? Here's one example, right? Here's another example. All within all nested inside of each other, right? On the other side of the coin is the impetus for motion, right? Which I often refer to as the divine light of God, the divine light of deity, right? And so, after a time existing in a state of rest, right, the abstract intellectual quality, right, that controls the impetus for motion seeks to express its wisdom. And so, it breeds, exerting pressure upon the static quantum hologram of electric waveform potential and probability. And so, right, if we close this in a circle, in a sphere, right, and then cast a circle around it, that's called a great circle, right? Each degree along the surface of the sphere, right, 360 degrees to the circle, is a potential vector of pressure exerted upon, right, the quantum hologram, right? And so that dihedral, right, that degree or degrees, right, that angles, right, with which the pressure is exerted reflects what we see materialize in the manifested world as matter, right? And so as it exerts pressure, space begins to collapse and greatest friction against itself, right? Collapsing a large volume into a small volume until creating electric resistance. Until eventually the electric resistance is so high, it can no longer remain inert space and erupts into incandescence as matter, right? On and on and on and on and on. This, right? And this is what we call it, the thinking of God, right? Gravitation, right, is thinking, right? It's no Zeus in the clouds throwing lightning bolts, right? It's an abstract intellectual quality, right? Proliferating and manifesting corrupted kinetic shadows of idealized Platonic forms, right? Which is the teaching of Socrates in the allegory of the cave, right? And eventually you end up at atmospheric strata, right? Mineral, vegetable, animal, man, right? And so at the highest level of man, of the unfolding of the divine plan, is the artist, the creator, right? And at the highest levels of those strata is the psychic and the clairvoyant, right? And Quentin Tarantino is a powerful clairvoyant, right? Who uses his mind as a weapon, right? Who violates anyone's mind that he sees fit, right? Why you think Scott.feinberg's interviewing him, right? Because he jumped in his mind and knew that he could control him completely, right? I am also a powerful psychic clairvoyant, right? The most powerful of the millennial generation, right? But I have an ethical standard, right? I have a family, right? I can't go on the offensive at all. Not that I would really want to in the way that he has, right? He stole my fear, right? That's right, like that's a sick degeneracy, right? And so the two of us, right, are locked in this legendary psychic siege, right, where we can't break free from each other, right? That there's no, right? We're stuck together, boom, beyond the edges of eternity, forever, right? And if you cater to the notion of reincarnation, if we both are existing on the mortal coil, right, in another lifetime, we'll be mortal enemies, right? So I've reached out to his agent, right? I sacrificed my job, sacrificed everything, right? Lived on the street for months, all to show him my remorse, to show him that I do respect it, right? Because I do, right? And so now, right? Now we're talking about it, right? Because, right? Everything that he did during those months was all a sick joke to him, right? And it's still a sick joke to him. Because he can always go, oh gosh, I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, how unfortunate. Right? Where he sees it as some sort of sick spell, right? Just like when he got married in a church of God. Right? So help me get the story out, right? Pray for me, right? Share it, right? Like, comment, subscribe, share, right? See what's good in your life. Hold those dear to you close, right? Know that life is not an accident, right? All the best.